You can tell her, you can tell her anything. She's a real good listener. You can tell her anything.
Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Father Longlegs. This is You Can Tell Me Anything. I am very excited for my guest because, backstory, this is, I think, the fourth time we tried to do this, but not to a testament of, like, her being flaky or anything. It's truly one of those situations where fate, like, literally things in the world keep happening right before we're about to record, and then we're like, you know what? We're sad. Let's not do this, but we'll just end up talking instead. So this time we were like, we are sad, but everyone's sad. So let's do this. Whatever comes out, comes out. Anyways, this is a very long intro to say. I'm very excited for my guest. She's super funny. She created the show All Female Reboot. She was right on all that. Liz Magee, what's up?
Hello. We're doing it this time.
We are. And yeah, so I think this will come out pretty much next week, I guess. But for the people who are listening, we are recording it the day after RBG passed away, who, you know, we love, an icon. And it was going to happen anyways, but just timing-wise with everything going on, it's quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
So
That's something I was talking to friends yesterday. It's like, I'm not even really mourning her like loss of a person, because she lived so long and so well, and her legacy is forever, and like what an amazing life in person. It's just like that aside is just like the terror and anger of the whole thing.
Yes.
That's really consuming and really the cause of the tears.
yeah, and then it doesn't. So this is the part that I'm like, I actually like Twitter and internet. I mean, even though I like making fun of it too, it's probably, if it was bringing more negativity in my life, I probably wouldn't use it. It has both, for sure. But sometimes when things like this happen, it's so amplified, because I'll go to Twitter to be like, can I get connected to people in a way that will feel nice? But then it's so amplified that it's like in Midsommar when all the people all feel angry at the same time. Because I'm like, it's too much. I don't want it.
I don't like scary things.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, well, let's start. Okay, so before we get too far, I always like to start with something positive. So I think today especially is a good time to have this. Just a good confession as like an icebreaker, a way to know you. It's truly just more of a humble brag or something positive, like something you like, something you're watching that you like, whatever. So do you have a good confession to share with us?
Yes, I do. I was thinking about this. When I lost my virginity, I was on top, and ever since I saw Lady Bird, I'm realizing that's unique, or like at least, I think it's interesting. I never even thought about how it would happen differently. Like I was like, oh yeah, this is how you. I don't know. I think it's interesting how it was such a scene in Lady Bird, and I feel like that was the first time I heard that dialogue, and I was like, oh, is that a weird thing? Is that a unique thing? Is that not what everyone did? I don't know.
I love that. Yeah, that's so interesting. I guess because I feel like, I lost my virginity so late, so I had already like sort of the scariness was over. But like, yeah, I guess part of it is logistically, I feel like it's probably more comfortable. I think that because it's probably more painful. I don't know, but then I'm like, I don't know, maybe not. I feel it's a natural thing. So if you know what you're doing, but yeah.
Yeah, I was also later. Like I used to have a joke that I didn't have sex in high school because I would just listen to ludicrous lyrics and be like, oh, I'm not ready.
Oh my god.
And well, I felt like overwhelmed by it, and I wasn't really dating in high school. And then in college, it was all so pent up. I was like 18, and I was like, I have to do this. And so I think maybe it was because of how, like...
It was a natural progression. You weren't pressured into it. So then your body does take over at that point. It's like,
exactly.
It wants it.
Like, I was like, you have to take this. It wasn't like a let this happen. It was like, I'm taking this.
You weren't a shy flower. You were like a bumblebee pollinating the queen bee.
And it was very similar to the Ladybird. Like he came in like 4 seconds. It was like, oh, this is what okay.
Damn.
Fine.
So was it his first time too? Or was he just like, I guess? Okay. I feel like a guy would just be like, I'm cool with whatever's happening at this point. Like, but I was talking to my boyfriend last night because we were just like, we were sad too, but we were exchanging just like childhood nostalgia stories. So I was like asking about the first time he saw a girl naked, and he said that he went down on her, and I was like, do you know how unique that is? I'm almost like, nobody should know this. Don't tell people this. You're going to have so many DMs. Like,
yeah.
It's like, that's unique, and people don't do that. I'm like,
wow. That is unique, because people don't do that.
Yeah, so, yeah, maybe I won't leave that in. No, stay away. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it paints it in a very positive light. I don't know why you keep that in.
I know, but I'm like, I can't fight these hoes off. I'm sorry. No, that's not a healthy way. I'm changing my views. All the hoes, please feel free. All the hoes are allowed. I'm very open, you know. I've changed my views. I'm not a jealous bitch. All the hoes are allowed. My boyfriend brings all the hoes to the yard. Whatever. Update that song.
Whatever.
Yeah. That's the new poly way. I don't know if I'm fully poly, but I'm definitely on board with the openness thinking of like, let's talk about it. And then when I'm mad, I'll tell you. Like, I can't guarantee I won't get mad, but I'll tell you. Yeah.
Yeah. I tried open in my last relationship once, and the first time was splendid. The second time, terrible. It's just like depends on who. It's just because you're inviting someone else, and they have their own agenda, and you can't control what their agenda is. You can only control what yours is, and so it's just like it can get volatile.
That's, I think, the reality is it's not actually about like. The reality is things are going to work or they're not. There's just different ways to find it out. So that's why I'm not like there's one way for everything. Like I've never had obviously I've never had a monogamous relationship work out to happily ever after, but I've also never had a poly relationship work. So I'm like, I can't tell you for sure which is the thing, but I can tell you all the things I've done that don't work. And so it's more like, I'm like, I think sometimes there's a feeling of like being overly protective that I see in like couples who it works for them and they can't see it working any other way because they're like, you're going to shatter my reality. And in those cases, I'm like, okay, that's your thing. For me, I'm like, I could probably tell you I will get jealous if a girl shows up, but I could also tell you that's not your fault. But if you don't want that, I'll tell you all the buttons to push, but also I'll be honest about how to fix it when it happens. So, I mean,
it's also hard to program. I have read Sex at Dawn. I did all the research, whatever. And it's just it's a lot of programming. There's a lot, like, think about how many drama plot lines are she cheated, and how that means they don't love and respect you somehow. When it's like, no, they just like had sex with another person. It's not like it doesn't take, especially with women, I feel like it's like, oh, if you're attracted to another woman, or if you have sex with another woman, that means I'm somehow less attractive, or I'm somehow less good. But that's not the case.
It's not the case, but the reality, I like that you said programming, because that's how I've been looking at things. Not in a cult way. I know that's the same language cults use, but because I've been learning to code, yes, she codes. I mean, it is true, but I'm mostly saying that as a joke. I am trying to learn because I got a free class. I was like, why not? And I love everything robot and AI, and I love making men mad when I talk about tarot cards and AI in the same sentence. But because it's both similar, but there's patterns. But my point is, wow, I'm really off the rails this morning. My point is, when you said programming, I like to think about it that way because of the way we program machine learning. It's the same. It's you can realize you don't want certain patterns that you have, and you can do the work to reprogram, but it doesn't happen overnight. So I think that's the thing people don't realize when they talk about therapy is like, oh, I started going and I found out this is why I do this. You know, dust off my hands, it's done. It's like, you know why you do it, but it took you like 20 years of patterns to now have this pattern. So you're going to have to undo it. It's not that easy, but it is the first step. So I think people are like, oh, I can't fix this because I figured it out and it didn't go away. It's like, yeah, no, you have to like actually program. And when I say that, I mean actually have positive patterns outweigh the negative ones, which is the hard part because it means putting yourself out there again for vulnerability, but finding better scenarios, which I think is the hard part.
Yeah, I mean, my sister's literally, she's a behavior therapist. She works with kids on the spectrum usually, but she talks about that a lot. We talk about it, how people well, this is, I know this about me. And it's like, instead of working to change that, they just try to remove themselves from those environments. Like they're like, oh, I'm like this. I'm not going to put myself in that situation. But it's like the only way that you're going to improve is if you continue to put yourself in that situation, because you're going to try, you have to keep trying to handle it better. You can't just like refuse to do it.
Yeah, but I think there's a balance. So this is where I think we get what capitalism does kind of fuck us over, is because I get in arguments with guys about, I mean, I'm sure comedy guys, most of them lean towards very like Marxist, which is like values and ideas wise. I love the idea of everyone getting everything. But I will now, I'm only saying this because people who have heard me criticize them because I'm like, my parents are from, whatever, Taiwan. I'm never going to go communist. But I also have critiques for capitalism, so here I go. But I think that that's one of the shitty parts is like, there's a short-term capitalist mindset of like sell fast, make it fast. And then there's a long-term, which I like, which is technology, society, everything improves, but we're not in that version. So we've kind of lost with the self-help industry, wellness industry, therapy. Like I'm someone who talks about therapy because it's working, but it's not perfect. And I'm clear about that. But when people start talking about like, oh, I figured out the way, just remove myself or just do this. Like the reality is sometimes removing yourself works. Sometimes jumping back in works. That's like a very shitty answer. But the best way to figure out when it will work for you is actually understanding yourself, which is the part that nobody can tell you. So no self-help book will tell you, you are this person. You literally just have to keep pressing the buttons and figuring it out. And on the way, don't let people manipulate because people will. But
they sure will.
They really will. And if they do, this is what I couldn't learn is if they do take advantage, it doesn't mean everyone will take advantage. It is unfortunate, and they should have their consequences, and you should, stay away from that person now that you know. But like, it doesn't mean like from now on everybody who says, you shouldn't not be nice to everyone because one person took advantage.
Yeah,
but that's hard.
That's
very hard.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I got last week. I got like rejected for the first time because I haven't been single in so long, and I finally I hooked up with this guy.
Ooh.
I know.
Is this your confession? Are we going into it?
I guess so.
Okay, let's do it. I love it. I'm always tell people I'll give them a cue, but only because it never naturally happens, and I'm sensing a natural progression. So I'm like, let's just get into it.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, so I finally was like feeling okay enough after the breakup to like pursue sex. I was like, I think I could do it without bursting into tears.
I like that your wording of it though, because it kind of harkens to the virginity story. It's like it's not that you don't want it, you just know you're not ready. Versus there's other versions where people like, oh, the first time someone's interested in me, I guess that's a sign. But you're like, I'm gonna wait till I feel like I'm ready, which I feel like is very healthy. So that's good.
So I matched with this guy, and he's so attractive. It's crazy. I was like, I can't believe I matched with this guy. And then we like went for a long walk, a max walk, and like we, from here to there, we had sex. And it was very good, very fun. And it just like felt like a reward after like months of being sad about the world and the breakup. I was like, oh my God, I just had fun. And then I think we hooked up one more time that week, and then he was super busy for a week, and I was out of town. But during that time, we were texting. It was very fun. Here's a flirty pic. Here's what I'm doing. This could. But he was a bit flaky. Like sometimes I would text him, and I wouldn't hear from him the next morning, and it's like, that's fine. That's perfect. I don't want a relationship. I just want a friend to fuck right now. But then it got to a point of like, I was like, is it just busy, or is he busy, or is this mind game?
Mixed signals.
To that point of like,
yeah.
Like, why aren't you being responsive? Why aren't you just like telling me more? This week I was like, I don't know. I think he's trying to phase me out just based on like his response time and stuff. But then
is this guy like 22? No, I'm just kidding.
No, he's 36. This
Oh
is who he
God.
is. Like, this isn't like, I'm like, this is who he is. And there's a part of me that's like, what if he's going to listen to this? But it's like, I can't get him to reply to my text. I don't think he's going to go through.
Yeah, if he's listening to this podcast, you're good. You're fine. If he's listening to a podcast you're guesting on, after not texting you, like, yeah, he might actually be pining for you. But then I don't know if you want to date that guy, but he might like you more and doesn't know how to handle it. But I don't know if that's going to lead to communication issues for sure.
Oh, there's already so much. So Tuesday morning, Monday I was like, I don't know if I'm going to see this guy this week. I hope so, but I don't know. Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. dick pic. A 9.
Oh, I made a face. Damn. 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever received one in the morning, but it's a little like, all right. And
it's
now I put this
very
in
jarring,
my pocket.
I imagine.
It's jarring. And like, I write children's television. I had to just like be like, okay, well, let's put that away and do my job for the day and then pick it back up later. I don't know.
It's like, but y'all just pick up this dick pic later. And so this was after not responding, or were you guys back to like sort of sporadic texting? Or was it like really bam, I'm like, nothing, dick pic?
It was a little bit like that. It was a little bit like, I think I asked him on Monday if we were going to hang out this week, and he was like, yeah, let's, but no, like, here's when I'm free. It was just like yeah, that sounds good, but time's not real. Okay. So it was just kind of in the open of like, are we actually going to go? And then 9 a.m. dick pic, and then I was like, yes, I have his attention. We're going to sex this week. And then I sent a text at night, didn't hear from him. Next morning, didn't hear from him. Was like, are you around tonight? Didn't hear from him. Ghosted me the next day. And he then later was like, so sorry, with the emoji that has 2 eyes and just like a line for a smile. So sorry. And
that means he's high. No. That's my I'm high face. No.
I don't know what it means, but I spiraled. It's just been so long since I've been rejected. I've never been like ghosted. I'm like very upfront and like, here's where I'm at, where you at, here's where I'm at, where you at. And I don't know. I just felt like I was like, I don't even like you, and I'm so upset about this.
Yeah. No, I mean, it sounds like he was being shitty, and I also think that your reaction is normal because his actions were not. But I have a question for you. What do you like about him?
It's mostly a physical thing.
Okay.
He's 6'6".
Okay, so he's hot and the sex was good, and it was a little bit of attention when you needed it.
Yes, I mean, yes. Mm-hmm. I realized the last time I went through a breakup, I started and pursued stand-up comedy. So, like, that's the level of attention I crave. The breakup.
Oh, my God. That's so funny because I didn't even think about this, but I've never been able to have a healthy relationship during stand-up. I don't know if that's necessarily because of stand-up, but quarantine took away stand-up, and for the first time, I feel like I'm making a breakthrough in having a healthy relationship. I don't know what that means, but I do think that you're onto something there. There's definitely a part of my life I was filling with stand-up, and I liked it, so I'm not saying I don't like it, but for sure it was keeping me from dealing with, probably.
Yeah, I like it honest around. I love company, and so I was just like, hey, do you want to be my company?
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, and he said no, and I cannot handle it.
Well, the reason I asked why do you like him is because obviously I can see you liked him in the beginning, but I think because I do this too, so this isn't me being like holier than thou. But what I heard when you said that is I like him. Like, you made a decision when you liked him, and then when you started acting weird, that was because you didn't know why he was acting weird. That wasn't being added to the like category, or like, you know, when you're getting to know someone, you weren't adding that to like his bucket of getting to know. You were like, okay, I'm gonna put that there until I know what's going on. So you still like him, but when I hear this, I'm like, oh, all that he's doing, that's him. So that's new information that I would be like, I wouldn't like someone who acts like that. but that doesn't match with how you felt about it before. So I don't know if this would help, but thinking about him as a whole person in the sense that, like, as he starts acting like that, instead of being like, why is he acting like that? Be like, oh, I just learned that you're someone who acts like this. So now I don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
But it's hard because I do think people do that on purpose. Or it's not on purpose, but they're patterns that complement and then clash, like the insecure attachments. And so both of you probably are pushing each other's buttons, but it's not you, it's not him. I mean, it is, but he's not rejecting you. He has shown you who he is, and you now have reasons to reject him.
It's also like feeling familiar. Like the last round that I was single, I happened more than a couple times that like the guy would be hooking up with, like, and he definitely had a girlfriend probably the whole time. Ugh. And I'm picking up on some of that because it's like, why would you just disappear for a full day when, like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
When you
gotta trust your intuition. I feel like you have a very strong intuition, but it's not it's strong enough intuition where it's like, because sometimes it's easy to write a whole thing off as like, oh, that was bad, but it got you to the good, and then people will take advantage of the intuition and like. Like, it's like the kind of thing where if something is going on and you're like, hey, is something going on? And they lie. But because you're empathetic and intuitive, you're like, okay, I'll believe you. But then when you look back, you should trust that, like, oh, no, you were right. So it's not a sign of you being wrong. You were right. And they lied. So then you can hone in on, like, next time you feel something, even if you like the person, if you have a sense they're lying, the person who's lying to you is not going to tell you they're lying to you. So at some point you have to trust. At some point it's just you and you making the call.
Yeah.
But I think this is, I don't know. To me, I feel hopeful, but I know it sucks when you're in that, because I went through a breakup last year too, and I went through a couple like rejections of like, I was gonna go out and date and be healthy, and I felt like, oh, this is nice, and then it wasn't like a rejection like heartbreak, but it was like oh, I don't want to date you. And then I was like, oh, you're doing all the right things, but I'm mad because I want you to want to date me. Like,
yeah, yes. Like, I want the attention. I felt like I deserve it. I feel like
you do, but he doesn't deserve your attention now that he's shown how he is. But that sucks. Well, it's interesting that the 9 a.m. dick pic, you and I had a different reaction. So you were thinking that was like, I got him back. I thought that was like, whoa, that feels like a bit of like a litmus test of, that seems like it's not a shaming on the dick pic itself, because I'm like, if I was with someone and they knew I wanted it, it would be fine. But it feels like for someone you just started dating online and you don't know if they want it, that feels like a boundary test. And those are the kinds of things that, looking back, if you were, let's say this guy pops back up, he seems like hot and cold, and let's say you date and things are good, something like that will happen again, and you'll be able to look back and be like, oh, I remember he like always was like this, but I just put it aside thinking he'll change. But so those are actually good, not good, but those are good moments. You didn't do anything, he just showed you who you are. You just got to listen to the alarms earlier, I think.
Yeah, and it's also like I realized, like, oh, okay, the dick pic wasn't like actually for me. He wanted some kind of attention, and it was just for him to be like, hey, do you want to see this? And I was like, yes, I like seeing that. And then
it is like little boys showing their art projects, like, do you want to see my dick?
Yeah, literally. And well, the thing that is, what I have been calling him to my friends, he was a tease. And I feel like that is thrown at women so often, and I'm like, this man is a tease. Like, so somebody has to call him out. He has to have it on his forehead.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, men can be teases too, because it's like, it's not that they have to give up the dick, but he literally sent you a dick pic. So
yeah.
I mean, when men are like, you're asking for it, it's like, well, what are you doing here? You sent a dick pic.
With like to someone with no intention of actually lending the dick, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I'm trying to think, like, yeah, you could be right. He could just be shady. Like, there's a lot of people in the picture, and he's non-committal, and it's not anything you've done. But based on his patterns, he might be like, oh, opened up and then girls want a lot of things from me. Oh no, the horror of someone wanting something from you that cares about you because I don't know, but it's just crazy. But point being, his patterns are probably repeating, and so he's defending himself, and you're probably like, well, I'm not like that, I'll just prove it. But he's like, well, that's what they all say. So it's like then everyone continues to repeat their patterns. But the male tease thing is funny because I've never thought about it like that. Like, it's not that you send a dick pic, you owe a dick, but there is a communication that could be had. Just like if I wanted to send a nude, but I didn't want to have sex, I think I could be clear and say, hey, I feel like this would be a fun nude relationship, but I don't want to have sex with you. And then I feel like people would still be like, okay, cool. Like, I feel like there's a way to do this if that's what he wanted. But I feel like that wasn't.
Well, it's also because we've already had sex. It's like, it's not like he did that before.
You're the logical person. You're the straight man in improv sense, although I'm like, we shouldn't use that term. But you're the straight man in the situation. You're the person acting rationally. He's the person acting irrationally. You're trying to figure out why he's acting that way, which is a rational thing to do. But then he is going to take your moves as irrational because he's not accepting that he's irrational. So
and I feel crazy because I'm like thinking about like why there's so many drafts of text I have not sent to him, but I've definitely drafted up just because I want him to know how I feel. I'm also in the phase of my breakup where I'm now into astrology.
Yes, welcome.
I know. I was like, Teresa's gonna be so happy. I mean, I'm brand new. I don't know much, but I am a Gemini, and I apologize. And I'm trying to figure out how to be that.
Geminis, I mean, I feel like Geminis are great comedians, very bubbly and fun. A lot of my best girlfriends are not all my. There's a couple signs that repeat throughout my life, and Gemini girls, especially, are one. Gemini guys can be tricky with me, but it's interesting because my ex was Gemini, and then the guy I dated after George Shortley was a Gemini and a very nice one. So I'm like, I think with signs it's like it's fun to make fun of like all good, all bad, but in reality it's actually more like you can't blame anything on your sign. Signs are like personality traits, and then the bad stuff is like choices. So I'm like, so that's helped me see that. Although it is fun to hate a whole sign, I've never found a whole sign I could actually hate because that's usually like the best people I know are this and the worst people I know are this or something.
Well, you seem to have like a nice logical opinion of astrology in general because I feel like I understand why a lot of women find it, especially after breakups and stuff, because it's like, oh, it's a way to be like, it's not my fault, I'm like this, and it's a way to be like, I'm not alone. Everyone that's a sign is like this, and which I felt in exploring even in the beginning. I'm like, oh, okay, so like there's more people out there like me, and this isn't my fault, and then I'm compulsive. But it is. I should take responsibility in trying to better myself in like practicing self-control.
Well, this is what I like about astrology is a lot of other religions are all about judging others and they're more male and they're all about a central god. Astrology, if you really think about the way it's set up, like not in the like horoscope, read the news kind of way, but like the idea of like mapping out the world and stars, everyone has a place. And for every like someone's weakness, there's someone else's strength in a way that's like really beautiful to me. That's like very feminine. It's all about looking within. So like I'm a Scorpio, which is a sign people hate, but what I like about Scorpios is like our thing that I think the reason a lot of people either hate or love is because Scorpios are really focused on finding the truth, and we're usually pretty good at it. And so there's some signs who are really focused on keeping it light and fun. And like, why do we need to say the truth? Well, Gemini is one that likes to lie, not to hurt, but lies because sometimes it's more fun. And I have friends who like being around that because it's like, why not go out and make up fake identities and have a good night out? Who cares? That's fun. And I think that's not inherently good or bad. Just like it's not inherently good or bad to find the truth, even though I will always find it. Sometimes people get hurt when you're like, I just need you to know this. And they're like, I wasn't ready to hear this. And you're like, well, it's the truth. It's like, well, I don't know if I actually helped there. So to me, I don't think it's there's no intrinsic good or bad in astrology, but it helps you understand. Like if I was dealing with someone who couldn't handle like the truth, I might be like, oh, I might not be a good friend for you, because if you ask me my opinion, I will tell you. So I might not give you what you want.
A lot of people can't handle the truth. They really can't. If they admit one thing is true, that means they have their whole lie will unravel of like what who they are.
But I've had people be like, oh no, please lie to me if you don't like me. Like people say things too like that. So it's like, I think everyone's different. I'm the kind of person who was like, even to people I like, who I'm like, just give me one thing you don't like about me. Like, I just need that. Just give me the little, what's the A-? And then people are like, why? So I'm like,
that's so interesting. I just had like a flashback of like, I feel like I was like 10, 15 age. I was like probably like 12 or 13. And I feel like my girl group, we all sat down and we went around and told each other what we did not like about each other.
Whoa.
And nobody really had anything bad to say about me, actually. I really they were like, Liz, I mean, you're pretty good. Really good.
Whose idea was this?
Huh?
Whose idea was this?
Not mine. I forget. We were called the Inseparable Six.
Oh my God, you were a popular girl.
Yeah, we were popular girls for sure. Beloved, but not obviously. I can't remember whose idea it was.
That's so funny. That is a popular girl thing to do, because it's like a test. What are you gonna say? Mm-hmm. And then you can pick a fight with someone you don't like. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love truth. I cannot stand not knowing. And that's the thing too, is like, I just want to know the truth. Like, do you have a girlfriend? Are you just scared that I'm coming on too strong? Are you not interested? Like, just tell me. Mm-hmm. Just tell me.
I want to know. Well, okay, I that's one piece that I think is really good to chase the truth, but I'm going to challenge you and say I think you do know the truth a lot of times, and I feel like I don't know all the details of your life, but I feel like as a comedian, you're very open and very obviously good at telling jokes, which to me feels like very good at finding truth. So my instinct is that you can look back on your life and realize a lot of times you did know the truth, but you're waiting for someone to like confirm it. And then later you were like, I knew. So if that's true, that's a pattern, then maybe you can trust that you know the truth. And then you'll probably still get confirmation down the road, but act based on the truth you know now. Because I think a lot of times with dating, people are like waiting, but they really do know. But they're like, well, until I get confirmation, I'm going to act in two realities. And that's when you get mixed signals. Because I've been there. I've been like, I'm going to now act like this person's not interested. And then they're back. I'm like, oh, now I'll act like nothing happened. Everything's good. And then you live it and you start to like feed two realities where it's like, this is all one reality.
Yeah, there's days when I'd rather pretend that I might still get what I want. And it's just like,
you will get what you want. Maybe not from him, but the thing that you get is going to be what you want, and you're going to get that, and it'll be good. Trust me. But I think you got to listen to yourself.
Yes.
I don't know. When did I become a preacher? I really don't like this version of me. I can't. I'm insufferable. Okay.
You're not insufferable.
Well, I'm actually curious I want to talk about just the idea of poly relationships, because that's really interesting to me. Or would you be comfortable talking about that? Yeah, because we brought up something earlier that I was like, that's so interesting, because I do think that's true. Like the idea of bringing someone else's wants into a situation can be like a wild card. And I've only been in one poly, it's not relationship, but situation, I guess, because I dated a couple, but I thought about it. I was like, oh, I could be that, like, why did that work for me? It happened to be I knew what I needed, and they were that, and I knew that what I needed, I would be good for them too. So the reality is like, yeah, I could have been crazy, but I know I wasn't there to cause chaos. Like I wanted out of dating a couple. This was like maybe 6 months after I got out of breakup, where there was cheating. I had tried to make it open because I thought it would help, but then that backfired, and he was like, why? So to me, I was like, I really just wanted to see a couple that worked, but like truly like love and respect. And usually the ones on those Thrinder apps, which is where I found them, are looking for a wide variety of things. Often it's not love and respect. So I had to like be so clear. Like I had to be like, I want a couple that loves each other, has been together for a long time, and loves and respects. And they were that, but I think the reason it worked is because I wasn't trying to join their relationship. Like I was literally just looking for like exactly have a good time, be respected, feel love, and see love. And then it was nice. But someone who maybe didn't know they want that might get that and be like, now I want this man's love or this woman's love. And that's when shit can go wrong. So for me, I knew that wasn't what I wanted, but I could see, it's a risk, right? Them letting me in their life. Like, what if I was trying to sabotage? That could be bad. So
and I like that you said that it worked even though it ended. Because it like worked for what you needed at that time. Like a lot of people will be like quick to be like, it failed, so it was that like it failed. It ended, so it was a failure. But it's like, no, it could have ended and been good.
No, I still text with them, but I'm in a relationship now, and to me, when I started dating them, I think they were open to having a girlfriend, but I think I was like, I think I don't really want any. I was like, I think this will be fun to have fun, but like at some point, it'll probably be more like the fun of this was over, but we can still talk. Like who knows? But it really, for me, it was like, I don't need a long-term relationship, because I was like, I don't know if I could like go to a wedding with a couple, maybe, but that wasn't what I was looking for at the time. And I don't think that's what they were looking for. So we didn't discuss all that, but I feel like the base rules of like, what are we looking for was, I'm sure they were just looking for fun sex with someone cool. It's like, I'm not going to lie and be like, they were looking for someone to respect and nurture until their trauma is gone. Like, I don't think that's what they were. But it ended up being like the entryway to like, oh, if the thing you want and you're good for that thing is matches, you don't have to necessarily show them that you're right. You can just find the thing that I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's not like you're doing anything wrong. You're just you. But you could be like, oh, actually, I think I would be really good in this situation. So I'm just going to put myself in that situation. And then it'll be okay. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
It's all very scary to me, because whenever I feel like I love to be open about this, but I always do get fearful, like, oh, I don't want to ruin something I have. But then whenever I have that feeling, I'm like, it's good to follow it, because the reality is you're probably not ruining anything. Like, if you have that feeling or these tendencies, that's you. That's who you are, and that's a good part of you that if you want to fix, you can, but it shouldn't be hidden, I don't know. I mean, it's funny. I feel like you, to me, are like a model. You've given me so much advice about relationships that I've taken. So it's interesting that I know right now you're going through a breakup, but like, I feel like you've said many wise things that I have really taken to heart.
It was a long relationship, 5 years. And I just like, but it's so funny. Yeah, it's like I feel like I have had a good gauge as well, and that I'm like a pretty secure person. Maybe not my attachment styles all the time, but like separate from that, I feel really secure. And then this guy just like made me feel so like crazy, and then I was like, we're back to this. We're back to like this guy making me feel crazy because, like you said, he's being irrational, and I was like, we're back to this. Like, this is supposed to be different in my 30s.
Have you ever, because I imagine there's a link in, because I have this too, or I had this, like, a link in your brain where there's even if you say you don't like how it feels when they're acting like that, it feels familiar. And is there like a bit of a rush when then he does come back and it works out?
100%. There's like that, and I feel like this, especially being around comedians and stuff a lot, because they can be mean. And it's one of those things where if they say like 3 mean things, or they do 3 mean things, and then they do something nice, I like really believe and appreciate that nice thing. But if it's like nice, I'm like, okay, you're just nice. You don't mean any of this. You're just like fucking nice.
It's so true.
Like,
the comedian life or the cycle is like you bomb and then you chase the high. You chase you crush and you bomb, and no matter how good you get, you're still gonna have that rolling of ups and downs.
mm-hmm.
But okay, oh god, because I feel I relay and it's very normal, but I feel like there is a third option, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't feel possible, but I think there is, because I think part of repeating like the dating a guy who you didn't know was shitty at first, but then he became shitty, and then you're like, again, the reality is there might be ways to know earlier on. Like, I think maybe dissecting it to be like, and then not going down that path when he shows that. But sometimes we're curious. We're like, maybe I'm wrong this time. But I think sometimes wanting to get to that point and then changing, like, be like, but this time it will be good, is very addicting, because it's almost like, okay, he's a fuckboy, but what if it ended up being he wasn't a fuckboy and I was wrong? That would totally change a lot of history, because you'd realize, oh, all this time I put in. But it's not bad, because instead of being like, I wasted my time, be like, I learned, like, all that time was, now you can go forth, and the person who doesn't make you excited and does tell you when there's bad things, but they're honest and tells you nice things, I feel like is going to be like primo.
There's also two other things at play. One is, like, I can sometimes be a brat. Like, if I don't get what I want, I, like, pout about it. And that's what's happening. Two, my ex, the 5-year relationship, he started as a fuckboy. And I was, like, secure enough to be like, whatever, I know he's going to come around. He's supposed to be. And, yeah, like, we had a really tumultuous start. And he was avoidant and he was shitty. And then eventually was like, you're right, here I am. So I think I'm like, yeah, again, I'm just not a stranger to that kind of behavior. And I've seen it actually work out with sex. Because that's not, it's super rare that it ever goes anywhere. And it did in this situation.
And I had it's funny, well, never mind. I'll say this after, but I had a similar situation where it was like, against all odds, this fuckboy I talked to you on Snapchat moved to my city and now we're in a relationship. But looking back, it's like there was no way for me to know exactly how bad it would have gotten. So I still don't, I'm like, yeah, I made all the choices in the moment that I guess I probably would have still made if I went back and had the same information. Like, not hindsight information, but if I only had the information up until that point. But now I think I wouldn't repeat it. So I think there's a feeling of like, you're right, it worked out to an extent. Like, yeah, you had a relationship. There are good and bad moments. But I feel like there's sometimes a urge to like rewrite everything until the end after a relationship. So it's like, oh, this will go this way and then we'll get here, but then I'll change this. But maybe there's a way to find the better part. I don't know. It's hard because I don't even know truly how I did it. I really feel like I'm making mistakes. Like, I feel like quarantine is going to end and I'm going to just revert back to crying at bars again. But for now,
I will see you there.
For now, I feel like, I don't know, something clicked in me. But I think part of it is that I really fell down a deep, dark hole and then didn't get what I needed. And then for survival, I think my body was like, well, we're going to learn a new skill, Teresa, because you need to get this thing. And then it taught
you
me.
are in the ground. We need to get some new skills to get you out of the ground.
But the other thing is, like, you are also doing this in a pandemic. Like, this, don't be so hard on yourself feeling insecure. Like, sure, maybe sometimes you've been, if you think you've been like that outside, but like, you have to accept all the facts. You're in a pandemic. He's in a pandemic. Everyone's in a pandemic. The world is on fire. It's okay to feel crazy. The world is crazy. Like, I think, let yourself.
And like, he was such a handsome distraction, and then it was taken away, and now I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm back to like thinking about Dune all the time.
I think that you're gonna get what you want, but I also think I don't think he's what you want. No. I think you got what you wanted from him, and I think in your mind you're like, I could probably do this more, but he's probably like, she's probably going to get bored of me and realize who I am. So he was trying to pull the like parachute early. And
it was really good as far as like it definitely shifted my mindset and about the breakup in general, because like there was a part of it like I'm never gonna like, I don't even know when I'm gonna want to have sex again. I don't even know how to have sex with another person. And then it happened like very easily, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Have you ever like are you like bossy in bed? I mean, or do you like, or are you more submissive? Because I just, for the first time, I'm usually submissive and I got bossy, and sometimes I'm like, I didn't think I like it, but if you're one way and you switch, I don't know. Have you ever tried switching the role?
Well, back to me losing my virginity at top. Yes, I can be bossy.
True. Okay.
I like wasn't really that time, because I was just like, I don't know. It depends.
You might like someone who's like, because I feel like these guys who are acting like fuckboys are fake bossy, if that makes sense. They're like fake masculine. Like they're like putting the peacock traits of like traits that you would be like, oh, I need someone to take control and who knows. But they're actually looking for someone to take care of them. So that's their trap. Is like, I'm gonna be like tall, handsome, like super strong, and make you think I have control. But they're doing that because they feel out of control. So they're trying to lure you in because they want you to boss them around. And I think there's a guy out there who's like there's like a fly buzzing around me. Oh my God. There's a guy out there who's like hot, strong, masculine, big, like all those physical traits that you like, who is also comfortable with their insecurities. And that's actually, I think, what would be good for you. Because I feel like that guy will be able to boss you around in a way that you'll like, but will let you take control. Because it feels like these guys all sound like they're just having like mommy issues, where they're like, I need someone to like take me out of my shell and really ask me what's wrong and like figure me out, and I'm having a breakdown, it's about me, and then you take care of them. But they're attracting you because they seem like strong men. So I think that's a trap. But I think there's a guy who is all the things you like and isn't doing it to trick you into taking care of them.
Yeah, I mean, I did read the text. I'm doing all those breakups. All I have is time.
Oh my goodness.
So I read a text, and it talks about how like there's in the dating pool in general, there's like always going to be a ton of avoidant people, because they just get back in the pool so frequently because they're avoided. So like you're just going to encounter a lot of them.
Interesting.
A lot more of them percentage-wise than secure people, and that's just what it is.
Well, I'm glad you shared this story, and I always enjoy talking about dating with you. I feel like you've been such a help to me. It's like weird that I'm saying like all these things like I know what's going on, but truly, I mean, not on the pod, but like, you know, Liz and I have had so many conversations where I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, and then you've been like the stable presence. So
it's nice to have a role reversal here.
Well, I want to end with a quick little game, I guess. This is what I've just been doing lately because society burning. Instead of like the traditional podcast game, I'm just saying, okay, if you could create a perfect society, or like Lizville or whatever, you could start from scratch a town, and there's 3 rules that everyone has to follow, but no magic. So this is like more, doesn't have to be like, oh, it has to be capitalist or communist, but just 3 rules that everyone in Lizville would follow. What would they be?
Fascinating. I mean, it's run by women, obviously. I think sensitivity will be universally recognized as a strength.
Hell yeah.
That's 2. And
so like instead of those carnival games where they have hammers, it's like, come here and cry, like, how fast can you cry to this baby?
Yes.
How empathetic are you?
Yeah, it's like separate up, and I'll guess your dad says, you know. Yeah.
That would be a fun carnival game. Like I would love to watch men struggle to read a poem, and then the thing goes weak, and they're like, what? No, I tried. That was so strong, and you're like, I barely saw tears.
I don't know what the third one would be.
could be a fun one. It could be like, what values do you want society to have? If it's like, you know, that one probably empathy. If it's like a fun one, or if it's love or whatever, like what would be what would be a fun rule?
A fun rule.
Or whatever.
I mean, I really miss dancing and going out dancing.
Yes.
I think we'd have like not like daily, but like some sort of mandatory dance break.
I love that. That's great.
Maybe once a week. There's like we all have to stop.
Yes, that's great. I feel like now we try to do that with the commercialization of bars and parties. Like it's like there's the ritual, but like it's so broad where it's like it's so big where if you don't go, nobody misses you. But you know, when communities are smaller, I feel like it was like there's the social and we go, and if you don't go, people are like, oh, are you okay? Oh, we didn't see you. Let me check in.
Right.
And now we've lost all the checking in part and just the dancing part. I love that. So everyone would take dance breaks. And that would be a nice way to just like shake. I feel like also physically there's probably evolutionary benefits to just like shaking it off, you know? Like my dog literally will shake every time he sees a big dog. And I'm like, there's gotta be something to this, the way we like just want to move all the time, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like people are don't dance now.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I would live there. Well, thank you for coming on the show and confessing and telling us your story.
You got it.
Where can people find your comedy, follow you, all that?
I'm at Jokes Magee on all platforms.
Nice.
It's Twitter. She's on there at Jokes Magee.
And you can follow this podcast at Tell Me Anything Pod and follow me at Larissa T on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you.